Good afternoon and welcome to today's Lansec iRate webinar. My name is Tracy Barden and I am the Client Relations and Training Consultant here at Lansec. And today I'm just going to be taking you through the Advisor Tools section of the Lansec iRate site. If you do have any issues hearing me or seeing my screen, you should be able to see my screen. Please just let me know. And we'll be able to look into that for you. Or if you have any difficulty hearing me, just let me know. You can type me a message on the message panel. There's a lot of areas that we're going to cover off today in the Advisor Tools area. So if you do have any questions, I'm happy to take questions throughout the session. Or if you want to wait, I'll leave some time at the end of the webinar to take your questions, or I can certainly take them offline either through a call or an email. Just before we get started, I'll just give everyone a chance to log in and we can start today's session. Okay, so let's get started. So once you log into iRate, if you just want to go to the Advisor Tools section, we're going to cover off the model portfolio, the reports, portfolio construction on how to manually create a portfolio and also how to import portfolios as well if you have them on Excel. And also we're going to go through quantitative analysis for performance charting and some more manipulation of growth data. So I'm just going to quickly start in on the model portfolio section in the Advisor Tools. So within here, depending on your licensee's agreement, you will have either the Lansec managed funds, the model portfolios, in here, or depending on your licensee, you may have different portfolios in here. I'm just going to load one of these just to show you. It's just going to give you a quick illustration of the actual models. So in here, on the left-hand side, we have the model portfolio settings. Again, you can't really alter these, but what you can do is, so that's all the criteria. This is the Lansec Managed Fund Model Portfolio Alternatives and its growth. You'll see all of the different managed funds within the different sectors. And if you do actually want to save any of these to make, if you wanted to use this model for any possible comparison or further research you wanted to do, what you would do is you would click Save As. So I'm just going to create a copy of this. So it's growth. So if I just click Lansec, I'll just put Alt and then growth. So I can make a copy and it will save in my portfolio construction. So I'm just going to click Save here. You should get a green bar just to say it's been saved. So what we can do there is, if we go then into our own portfolio construction then, just bear with me one moment. So let's click Load Existing. So we should have, if it's updating as fast as I'm moving through this, it should actually have the one that we've just created. Let me just have a look. 1 sec. Okay. Just bear with me one moment. It might just be a little slow. Okay. Just going to try that again. So just give me one moment. So what you would do essentially is you're making a copy so that you can run further analysis of the actual model. So let's load this. We'll just take the balanced one. We'll just come in here and click Save As to make a copy. and it's alternative. Let's just click save. You should actually get a green bar to say it's been saved successfully. Okay, this is taking a few moments. Apologies about the delay. I'm just going to cancel out of that because it just doesn't appear to be saving for me. It may just be my connection. I'll just come back to that because I can see it's still timing. Essentially, if you do want to use this, you would do save as and make a copy, and it would go into your portfolio construction. Underneath your advisor tools, then you have your model portfolio reports. So in here, this is where you can download your quarterly and core reporting. So let me just click in here. So in here, what you have under your managed funds, you will see the different performance reportings for the quarter. So this one, for example, is your launch. You have your date, and also you can just download. So click on this to view it, and it will download that report for you if you wish to save it. Apologies about this. It just appears that my site is a little bit, or my internet's a little bit slow today. So here you have your Lonsec Managed Funds Model Portfolios, the alternative. So this performance review, and this is the report you will receive. The next area that we're going to move into is portfolio construction. So this is where you'll spend a lot of time creating a portfolio. So that's something is delaying, telling me it's been saved. I'm just going to check and see if that portfolio I've created of the model has been saved. Let's just click load existing. Okay, so here we have, for example, what we tried to create a few moments ago. So we have the Lonsec balanced alternative. So if we click load, this is the variation of the model that we wanted saved. It's just happened to save a couple of times for me. So here you have the particular model, and you can make changes to this accordingly if you wish to do so. So that's just the version of the model that you have now saved in your own portfolio login. So the next part of the site, what I'm going to show you is how to create a portfolio yourself. So you have options. You can create a new portfolio, which will go through the different steps, or you can load an existing one, possibly if you have one saved, like I've just done so. And there is also an option that we're going to show you as well. It's bulk upload. So we're just going to create one first. You have an option of doing funds and equities or equities only. So let's just pop a name in here. Let's just give it a dollar value. You don't have to give it a dollar amount. It's not compulsory, but just if you want to do so. Your asset allocation then. So in here, this is where you can select an allocation model to build your portfolio, but you can also make different changes on the pie chart throughout the next page as well. Here we have Lonsec's strategic asset allocation, which is a more lengthy 2-year process. You have tactile, which is every quarter, and you can also do your custom asset allocation. Let's just pop in the strategic. Your strategy then. So this just allows you to select a risk profile to determine the allocation strategy for your portfolio. So in this one, let's just select, we want growth. We use Financial Express as our data provider. So this benchmark by default has just come up for us. So this is Financial Express, Unit Trust Peer Group Multi-Asset Balanced. But again, if you click in here, you can certainly change this among quite a lengthy amount of benchmarks. So we'll just use the suggested. You can, if you want to use alternatives in your portfolio. So let's just click no. And also Lonsec blends. So what this essentially means is if you wanted to populate your portfolio with Lonsec's recommended products. So for this example, we'll just say yes. You also have the option here to use a platform filter. So if you want to restrict the funds available on the selected platforms, and we have a large list of the larger platforms in here, as you can see. So if you want to do so, you can. And also if you have a product group, so this allows you to restrict only selections that would be in your product group, for example, your company's APSL. So that's simply all you have to populate. You'll see your allocation here is broken down in the pie chart. So we'll just click Create. Okay, so what it's done, it's created the portfolio for you with the settings on the left-hand side. Again, these are subject to change if you wish to do so. We also have a feature on here, it's Share With. So you can actually select in here if you want to share it with someone within your office who also has an iRate login. There is also an option, a new feature that we have. I'm just going to export on this tab up here. If you click Export, and we have the option of email, you can actually email this. I'm just going to show you what it would, the feature would do. You can pop in an email address if you want to send this to someone who doesn't actually have iRate, and you can email this portfolio to them. If you want to be included in this email, you just tick that box and then click Send. So it's just a new feature in here. So what we have here, because we've chosen some Lonsec blends, you have within your different sectors the Lonsec recommendations, the sector, the rating, the ICR percentage weightings according to your asset allocation, and your dollar value amount. You can also make changes then if you'd like to remove something. So for example, we have some cash here, so we don't really want this, so we're just going to remove cash. And we need to allocate then our 2% back somewhere else. Or you can also click Rebalance, which is the option that will rebalance in line with your allocation. I think it has actually allocated 2% cash. So we would have to take this out and put your 2% in elsewhere. So if you make any changes, you just have to click Update. It will give you the pre-change and the changes now. So what we've done is we had cash and now we no longer have. So we're just going to click Change. So now we're going to put the 2%, we'll say, into our Oz equities. Just click Update, click Change, and now it's rebalanced for us as 100%, and it's put 34% into our Australian equities sector. You also have, I'm just going to give you an example, we also have this option here on the right hand side. So this is if you wanted to actually move this product between asset classes. So there are some products that you may, so Lonsec may maybe classified certain products in certain sectors, but you may think that they should sit elsewhere. So for example, this GAM Absolute Bond Fund. So if you think it currently sits in fixed interest, but if you think it should sit in alternatives, you could do so either. So you would move this, so you can just click here and you could move that. Just let me just check, because I think this is in fixed interest because we didn't include alternatives. But if it sits in alternatives, you can also move it. But what you just do is hover here and you can move that if you thought that that should sit elsewhere. So I'm just going to leave that one back in there because we haven't included alternatives. So sometimes bond funds can sit in there. So that's how you would create your portfolio just like that with those information. What I am also going to show you now is how to do a bulk upload. So let's go back to Advisor Tools and Portfolio Construction. What you can do here, so let's click on Create New. If you have your clients' holdings and all of their investments on an Excel template, you can simply download our template here. So what you do is download this template. and you would populate this accordingly. So I'm just going to show you this. So what you would do then is you would give your portfolio a name, give it a strategy, so in line with the strategies that we have selected in portfolio construction. So if it's a fund, just make sure you pop in your API or code. That's a fund, so FND is the code for that. The name of the actual investment, so that's Aberdeen Actively Hedged. The sector, so that's Oz Equities, and if you want to give it a weighting, you can, if you wish to do so, give it an effective date. Excuse me. Also, what we have here is you can also put in a stock. So obviously keep it in line with the same strategy, give it the code on the ASX, and if you want cash, you just populate cash all the way through, and if you want percentages, just bear in mind they should equal 100%. So I have one previously that I've done, so I'm just going to show you. Might just make some changes to this one. So this test template that we have here, I'm just going to remove this one. Just click delete. Just give this a number. So we'll just call this test template ABC2. Just make sure that the names are all the same. These are just the same ones, but just you'll see how this portfolio then populates in. So I'm just going to click File, just save this anywhere, maybe on your desktop. Let's just save it here. Just click Save. So what we can do then is, let's just click out of this. Let's just go back to portfolio construction. So we go create new, and we're going to do a bulk upload. We're after populating all of the details into our Excel template. So we're going to choose our file. So let's come to our desktop. Sorry, this is quite small. And let's just go date modified. So we have our test template, and you just click validate file. So it just validates, and if you do get an error message, it will advise you in red. So in this case, all of the data is valid. So let's just click upload. So our portfolio test ABC2 should now be in here. This is what we have. So let's just click load. And what we have here is our portfolio created for us with the different entities that we wanted to add. So we have cash, we have a stock, and we have a managed fund. Again, you can make any changes you want to do. So if you want to change this then to 50% and reduce the others accordingly, you can do so. Also bear in mind, behind those arrows, there's a couple of other features. So you can send this information, which I'll show you a little bit later, to our quantitative analysis. You can rebalance, as we've just previously shown you, in line with your asset allocation. Save as will create a copy if you want to make any changes. You can export this, so you can send it in an email, or you can do it in Excel or an Xplan template. You can also print this out. You can cancel changes that you may have made. You can add a product to it, so simply click on add, and you just want to add another fund. Let's just hit return. You can copy and paste a number of them in here. So let's just give that 10% and reduce this by 10. Let's just click save. Just check, it should equal. Apologies, let's increase this to 40%. So we have 100%, and just click save when you make your changes. So from here on this add product, so this is telling me your changes have been saved. From add products then, you can add in here a fund, share. If you want to add in another stock, you get the entire list here. If you have a subscription, you can also add some listed income, or if you have a product group, you can certainly select a group that you already have saved the information, pop it in here, and you will simply be able to add all of your investments in one go if they're saved as a product group. So that's a really useful feature also. And again, you can delete your entire portfolio either if you wish to do so. So I'm just going to come to one of the next features, portfolio comparison. So this is where you can compare any of your portfolios with up to 5 other ones. So for example, if we wanted to compare, let me just load an existing one. So we'll just load this particular APL we have. And what we can do is compare it against a model. So this APL list that we have here, what we can do is let's pop into portfolio comparison. And if you want to, if you're making recommendations and you want to compare it against a model, so simply it will give you a benchmark, but again, these are very flexible. You can change this. So we'll just leave it as the multi-asset balanced. So this is our APL portfolio. Simply click on the green button, the plus here, and what we're going to compare it to. So I'm going to click in here and let's the model that we saved earlier. So let's compare it to Lonsec Balanced Alternatives just as an example. So the only way to compare against a model in here is to make sure that you have one saved in your own portfolio construction. So it's really, really useful that you make those changes and do save as if you want to compare it to models. So here we have, it will give you side by side, which is really, really useful, just each column. So under your holdings, your different ICR percentages and weightings in comparison. You will also see your sector exposure under your Oz equities, global property, fixed interest alternatives, cash. So the different percentages. And again, the returns after fees. So you'll get the performance figures, 3 months, 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years, depending on obviously the growth data that you have available. It will also give you 4 of the charts that we also feature in quantitative analysis. So you'll get your growth of 10K, your 1 year risk returns, you'll get period returns and drawdown analysis. So just some of the popular charts. So just on the growth of 10K, it's fully dynamic, this chart. You can hover on a data point at any stage, or else if you want to just compare one. So if we take away our model and you just want to track, add it back in again. So that's just our portfolio comparison. Some of the reports as well, I'm just going to show you that you can use just to give you an idea of the reporting that you can produce. So for example, this is going to be on our APL. So that by default, the portfolio client report will always be ticked. You can also add in market commentary. So this comes from our month in review report that we produce early in the month, around the 7th of the month. If you wanted to add that into a possible SOA for a client, you simply tick here and it will add in the latest market commentary. Also, you can add in the snapshots of your funds, so your fund profiles. If you want the individual one-page snapshots, you can do so there just to add some context. We also have an asset allocation report, and also with the portfolio comparison, we have a comparison report. So I'm just going to give you an example of one of these. So our performance date, so we're just going to use the most recent, so the end of March, just the name, your benchmark, and we want it in PDF. So just to give you an idea of the report. So just while that's loading and generating the report, the next feature I'm going to actually go through is a very new and brand new feature that Lonsec have actually launched. So I'm going to go through the new biometrics feature and how you can scan current portfolios for new biometrics measurements. So here we have our report, and this will just show you now. So this is your portfolio basic details. And if you wish to do so, just to personalize, we can also put your company's logo here. You just need to send it to us in a JPEG format and we can do the rest. You'll also see your returns after fees up here. You'll get some charts and graphs. We also give you frequency distribution and quartile chart, the regional analysis for distribution, and the portfolio report then is just a condensed version of your portfolio and its contents and investments. And then just the new feature, the biometrics. So if you have biometrics, then you will get a report, but I'm just going to show you that next. So that's just an additional page on your reporting. So that's some of the reports that are also available. The next feature I'm going to go through, I'm just going to go in and show you our latest biometrics feature. So iRate's new biometrics feature, so it goes beyond your traditional product ratings, and it enables users to assess and target their exposure to specific investment objectives. So I'm just going to load an existing portfolio to show you this. So this also integrates with iRate's portfolio construction, which I'm going to show you now. And the new feature, it's going to represent the next evolutionary step in financial product research. And it just allows you to provide targeted and personalized investment solutions for your clients. So what I'm going to do is let's just load in this one again. So here we have a portfolio. And what we want to do is we would like to, so alongside the traditional ratings with Lonsec, we would like to scan our particular portfolio under the biometrics. So Lonsec have 6 new biometrics features. So if I click on here, so it just gives you, if you hover on these new features, it will just give you some more information. So this allows you to scan your current portfolio using the selected biometric criteria. So when you use this tool, it will also give you suggestions for alternative biometrics, so matches based on your selections. So if we just click in here, okay, so this one I think I've previously used. Let me just pop in a new one just to go through the entire process. Let's just load an existing one, possibly. Just bear with me and I'll just take one that I haven't. Just so I can go through all of the features. So here's my portfolio. I'm just going to click biometrics. So what it brings up next is the 6 different biometrics configuration measurements. When you hover on these, it will give you a definition. So your standard risk measure. So this is a volatility-derived measure of the expected frequency of annual loss over any 20-year period. So you get to select all your ranges, how you want your standard risk measurement. So you may just want it between 2 and 6. Your complexity then. This is an indicator of the scope of moving parts in a product and their ease of understanding. So depending on how complex, so maybe you just want them between low to moderate. Then your ESG awareness. So this one is quite popular. So this is a measure of the degree of ESG awareness practiced by the investment manager with respect to the product. So if we want this to be quite high, and then we also have these 3 all fall under the fees. So this one, fees versus Lonsec Universe. So this is an indicator of the product's expected total fee load as a percentage of the total expected return relative to all Lonsec rated products. So again, let's keep our fees low. This one then is an indicator of the product's expected total fee load as a percentage of the total return relative within the asset class. Let's just keep them the same. And again, this one, fees, the expected return relative to the products rated within the same subsector. So let's just keep our fees within that category. So this is the criteria we've selected to scan our portfolio to see how it rates within these biometrics. So just click OK. So this is just working it out for us. So again, on the left-hand side, you can see your configuration and the choices that you've made. You can also change these and scan again. So you could change this. So what we have here is, this is your current portfolio, and then these are the alternative biometrics matches. So these are possible matches that if you wanted to replace a product in your portfolio. What you can see here is, for example, this Novaport wholesale. So this, if it's highlighted in bold, it falls within the categories and the configuration that you've chosen. So this obviously has a standard risk measure between 2 and 6, and its complexity is low to high. I don't know if that one's changed, but it obviously falls within that complexity. As opposed to for ESG, for the fees versus Lonsec Universe and asset class, it doesn't match the low to moderate. And for the last one, it matches. So anywhere you see it in bold, this is where it will match your configuration. With this configuration, these are the possible alternatives. So you could, in fact, change some of these if you wanted to do so. So I'm just going to scan down through here and find one that matches all of them, if we can find one. So for example, one that has the least amount. So let's just, for example, take Pangana. So this only has 2 that it matches on our criteria that, for example, if we need these to be all populated. So what we can do is we can select one here that matches all of the criteria. So let's just pick, for example, so when you click here, this is to be removed, so possibly to be removed. And we might pop in, this is to be considered. So we'll click here. So this one gets highlighted, our Alan Gray. I'm just going to use one as an example, but as I say, you can make changes throughout. If you then click apply, so when you click apply, this will return your selected alternative biometrics matches back to your portfolio. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And if you click save as, this will make a brand new portfolio for you, and it creates it with just your biometrics selection. So in this case, we're just going to click apply, and it will take me back to my portfolio. So here we have your portfolio looking a little bit more similar to how you're used to. This red, so this is the one we're possibly going to remove. Again, we'll highlight the one that you're possibly going to replace it with. So Pangana, this one, if you wanted to hover on bio, again, this was missing 4 of the biometrics that we wanted. And this Alan Gray matches all of the criteria. So this is 7.11. So let's just pop that in. Okay. And we're going to remove this one. So simply just click on that. And we've now replaced it with a biometrics. Again, you can see the biometrics on all of your products now once you've done the biometrics. It totals your 100%, and just click save. So that's simply how you can actually scan your portfolios for the biometrics measurements if you want to make any changes according to the 6 new measurements that we have in iRate. We also have more information on the biometrics. If it's something you're interested in, you'll find it in the Resource Hub. So in the Document Center, simply type in bio and enter return. And you will see all of the different research documents on. So this is a summary of the new pulse of financial products, which is biometrics. This is a more lengthy document, and these are the 4. So obviously all 3 fees fall into one category, and then we have our ESG, standard risk measure, and complexity. So just if you wanted some more information on the biometrics feature. I'm quickly going to show you another feature in here. So let me just pop in another portfolio. I'm just going to show you how to use our time series in a portfolio. So what I'll do is, bear with me one moment. Let's just pick one of these. So what I'm going to show you, so we have a time series feature that you can actually use. Just bear with me one moment, because I think this may have, if it has a T already, it will tell you it's already been used for time series tracking. So I'm just going to get you one that doesn't. So essentially what time series does is just allows you to track your asset allocation or your holdings data in your portfolio since inception. So you can run performance analytics over the time period also. So here we have this particular portfolio as at the 15th of March 2017. What we want to do is we want to create time series portfolios. So we want to go back and create real life time series where you may have made changes throughout your asset allocation, and just see and track those changes. So if this is March 2017, so what you do is you just click time series. You click into the holding from space, so click add new. So let's go back maybe 2 years, and let's go March, just to keep it in line, so you have 12 months. Click add. So what we do then, we make some changes in the March portfolio because it may not have been the same. So this 5% may have been 10%. And we may have removed this particular one. So let's just click save. So we're just going to make a couple of changes so you can see the changes that we've made. Then let's go back, add another year. So let's go back to 2014, March. Apologies. So let's just go back here to add new again. Let's go back to 2013. Let's go March and click add. And let's make some changes here. So let's just change this to 2% and increase this by 3 to 8. And again, let's just click save. So if you want to view all your holdings then with the changes that you've made on this particular portfolio, and now you can see it has a T because we've created a time series. So if you click view all holdings, just gives you in the column, so you have March throughout, so just to keep it in line, from 13, 14 and 15. So as you can see here, it will show you your changes. So on this MFS, we started out in 2013 with 2%. We then increased it to 5% and we kept it. And then Walter Scott, we had 8%. We reduced it down to 5 and we still have it at 5. Again, it's just a way of tracking all of your holdings throughout the different years with your asset allocation. And you can export it again to Excel. So that's your feature for your time series. The next part of the site I'm just going to quickly jump into is our quantitative analysis. So this is really, really useful part of the site if you want to do your performance charting, and if you want to run one of our 14 or 16 different performance charts. You can also calculate them as a portfolio, or you can do them with the underlying funds. I'm just going to delete this. So this is what you'll see. Again, your settings are on the left-hand side, and you'll see quant, your APIR code, product, your data period, and your growth history available. If you are running performance charts, and say you're trying to generate some of the reports in portfolio construction, and it's not giving you data for more than 3 years, it's very good to go into quantitative analysis and, as I say, do a health check on it. So for example, you can do this on a fund, a portfolio, a product group, and a benchmark. So let's just click in here, and I'm just going to add a particular fund just to show you. So for this Magellan Global Fund, as an example, we have data from June 2007 to March 2017. So that's the length of the data period that we can run a report for. Again, if you want to just pop in, I'm just going to delete that one. If you wanted to pop in a portfolio, so let's just pop in an APL. So this APL is allowing me to run performance charting from February 2011 to March 2017. So it has the latest returns. If you do want to see the underlying funds, so you can just click on here and it will show you the underlying investments within that portfolio. This one, for example, so this PIMCO Global goes from 1998 and so does Vanguard. But due to, if you come down here to the bottom, due to this one, actually, let me see which is shorter. Yes, due to this particular one only going from 2009, this is what's deciding your common data period. So this is the one that you can run it for all of the investments. If you did want more of a lengthy report, you would have to remove some of these ones dating back to an earlier year. So what I'm going to show you is, so this is just going to calculate as a portfolio firstly. So I'm just going to click all on the charts and just come down here. Then you have settings, so you have a growth history period. So you can start it from 2009 as that's the common one, or you can go a little bit later if you wish to do so. And your end date is March 2017, but you can go and change that if you wish to do so as well. You should have at least 1 year for a chart period, as you can see here. And you can also have, so you have your benchmark here. You can also change that if you wish to do so. This is just giving us the multi-asset. Let me just hover on this one and it tells me it's possibly balanced, multi-asset balanced, and your competitive universe criteria as well as multi-asset. So that's selected for you. So just click generate charts. And this is going to generate and track your portfolio against the benchmark. So again, you can see we have a number of different charts, some in chart, some in table format. So I'm just going to go through some of these with you. So for example, you have your growth of 10K here. This is just tracking your portfolio against your benchmark. If you click in here, you can hover on any of the data points. So obviously starting at 10K and how it's been tracking for the last 7 years. Excuse me. You can also get, if you want this information in table data. So some people like it in charts, some people in table data. We also provide a definition on all of the different charts. And you can certainly download the image if you wish to do so for like a PowerPoint, or if you wanted to pop it in the image to some reporting, you certainly can download the image as well. Again, you'll see, I'm just going to show you here. So period returns, this will always display firstly in a table because most people like to see it in a table. But you can also have it in a chart format. So it's quite flexible too. What I'm going to do now is display the underlying funds. And just generate the reports again, just so you can see, depending on how high level that you want to do with your charts. Excuse me. Let me just generate charts. And this is capped at 40 different investments. So for example, this is our growth of 10K, and you can see all of the investments underneath. Hover at any point or remove if you wish to do so, just so you can see a clearer picture, and again, tracking against your benchmark and your table data. So depending on how high level you wish to do with your charting, you can certainly do it as a portfolio or displaying your underlying funds. Again, you'll see a lot of in iRate, right? A lot of the site, you'll see that you can export it to Excel, you can export it to Word, and also to PowerPoint, or you can also print it. So that's just an example of the charts, but I do recommend if you are actually doing any performance charting, that you actually pop in your portfolio here first, just so you can see your common growth history periods available for running your charts. Again, if you're in, I'm just going to delete this. If you are in portfolio construction, just going to show you quickly how you can pop your information in there. So let's just load an existing one. Let's load a portfolio. So we have it in here. Just click on this. And if you want to check the growth history period and what we have data for, click on Quant. This then sends your portfolio in here, and you know that you've data period from June 2015 to February. So quite short. And if you want to know why, also, if you see a red error message, I'll show you that as well. You have a short period because you have a particular fund. Let's just scroll down here. Your AB Global Equities only goes from July 2015. Also, you'll see this particular one, so Partners Group. We can only do performance charting to February 2017 because of this particular product, because we haven't received the most recent data from the manager as of yet. So we could simply delete this, and now we can run it from March 2000 to March 2017. Excuse me. So it's really useful tool in here just to check in case you are getting an error and you're wondering why. It's really good to pop your portfolio in here first before doing any charting. Well, that's really all I wanted to cover off today. And as I say, I know there's a lot of information to take in on today's session, but I am happy to take any questions that you may have now, or if you wanted to contact me. I'm going to leave the client services team information just up on the screen. So we have a fully dedicated client services team, and we're happy to take calls or emails if you have any questions. I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you very much for your time, and I really hope you found today's webinar on advisor tools beneficial. So thank you very much.